G'day fans and welcome back to another exciting episode of Talking Stuff. Here we are to talk about some science fictions, and I'm with my lad Aaron at the moment, who's a very, very happy camper, and we'll explain why very, very soon. But at the moment, the lad is under the pump and he's like stressing to the max. That's the reason why we've decided to come here tonight. We're going to just chill out, talk about some science fictions for the next hour. Mr. Aaron, how you going, old son?
Why am I so good in a good mood at the moment?
Oh, I don't know. You're under the pump, son. We're going to explain why later on, but it's a bit of a big deal. But how you going, mate? We're here. We're talking about some science fictions. How good is that?
I love talking. It is a nice break from working at the moment because it's been pretty full on organising the fair and the garage sale on the weekend. Oh, we've got a few people join us already.
How about that? In fact, we've even got Hotline has joined us from Ukraine, and she's the first one here. So how good is that? Nicely done, I've got to say. So,
well,
anyway,
I've got
quite
to tell you, it's even a hotter line in Ukraine this week with all the missiles, isn't it?
Oh, don't get into that. Don't mention the W word. Karan's joined us. He's at least woken up in time for the show, which is the most important thing. He has a tendency of sleeping through them, which is not very, very good. But it's going to be a good one tonight. We've got a lot to cover. It's just absolute madness at the moment, which is particularly cool. First things first, just in 3 or 4 words. How you going, old son, while we're waiting for people to join us?
3 or 4 words. I just wasted my 3 or 4 words. I have to say to Russell, who's joined us, thanks for posting all of the pictures from Sci-Fi conventions and stuff. I found a picture of the back of my dad's head. I'd recognize that bald spot anywhere. So thanks for that, mate.
Very, very cool. Well, I guess we should kick this one off. It's actually quite groovy. We've got a lot to cover off. There's a lot of things to talk about, actually. In 1 week, because like last week we had Don B as the guest, so things have occurred in the last 2 weeks. So I guess I should just push that button and we'll just get straight into it. Oh, very, very good. Very, very exciting. Okay, this is the first thing you wanted to bring up, son. So for those who are watching, I don't know if Greg King's joined us yet, but of course, we're talking about everything at the moment. We're talking about Star Wars. We're talking about Star Trek. We're talking about Alien. And what do you think the first thing is we're going to talk about? Friggin' Docky. Docky who? What is the deal, dude?
Now, when we used to do Rip It Off the Card, if anything unusual turned up on eBay, we used to do a bit of a fun game and highlight it. And I found this, and this is a really unusual item. I think it's the first one of these to turn up ever. So this is a new piece of Doctor Who merchandise that was for advertising for Dalek Death Ray ice lollies back in the 70s. So it's a banner that would have been inside a milk bar or over the top of the fridge where they were selling them. But look at the price that went for. And it was only up about a day. It was a buy it now, and it sold £1,700, over $3,000 for an ice lolly advert. That's about the size, of a 45 record kind of thing. So it's one of those small, new, interesting items that's turned up online and someone's jumped on it straight away. And me and a couple of friends have been speculating which collection it will proudly show up in the next couple of weeks when it arrives with the new owner.
Yeah, when this Aaron sent this through, I actually thought it was his, and I said, "Yeah, good on you, dude. You just won like your 3.5, or nearly 3.5 grand in Australian dollars, and it's the Dalek Death Ray banner and wrapper. So probably the banner is probably the key part. Is that right? What do you reckon, dude?"
Yeah, the wrappers have turned up before, but that's a unique banner that I've never seen, and a couple of collectors have said they haven't seen it either. It was one of those things before it sold. I had the calculator out going, oh, do I jump on it and buy it? But too late, someone else got it. Collectors don't regret what they buy, they regret what they don't buy.
One thing I did notice down here, for those who are struggling to see, you got the postage is about probably $200 Australian, $200 Australian, but import charges. Look at that. There's like $500 import charges. So how about that, dude? Bloody hell. Not a cheap item.
Do you know, if I'd have got it, I'd have posted it to relatives in England and then got them to ship it out in a letter and saved all those import charges.
I'll tell you what, for being so rare, you'd want to fly it there and pick the damn thing up yourself. So unbelievable. I agree with Michael. I don't have Star Wars icy poles. I've got Batman ones from the 90s. So, and the ice creams are still in the packets, by the way. They might have lost their shape a little bit over the 30-something years, but they're still hanging in there, which is the most important thing. So, absolutely love it, which is very, very cool. So, anyway, guess what, friends? That's the only Docky Who we're going to talk about. Done. Out the door. Finished. That's it. So, Greg's probably going to leave us now. But this is actually very, very cool. Now, last week we were talking about, when we had Don B's on board, The Boba Fett, the Boba Fett that sold for $1.5 million American, right? Which just sold recently. You can see the date there in August, okay, which is very, very cool. Okay, $1.5 million. But Aaron, you actually found some headlines as to when this thing sold only like 4 years ago. Is that right?
Yeah. I was, because I remembered a few of these have turned up, and being in the industry, I like to do some research just in case one ever comes through the door, so I know what to pay myself. But I do remember a display like this selling and breaking records a couple of years ago. And I did find it sold at Hake's auction originally, about 5 years ago, for considerably less. And this is one of those things. Considerably. This is one of those things, as collectors, we go to our significant others and say, look, I can get a bargain here, an action figure for $100,000. I think it's a good investment. And of course, they shoot you down in flames. And now you can go, well, if you'd have let me buy it, it's just gone for 10 times as much as I could have got it for. That has got to be one of the better investments I've ever seen of a collectible. I mean, you can go into pop culture and get lucky with a Chase Pop for $19 and maybe sell it for a couple of hundred. But this is the really high level speculation, wheeling and dealing, where you buy something for $100,000 and 5 years later you sell it for over $1 million. I mean, that's pretty good. So anyone out there who has someone say, "Oh, don't collect; it's a waste of money. What a waste of money! You're throwing it away." You can pull up this auction and go, "Well, actually, Boba Fett is quite a good investment."
I agree with. Hang on, sorry, wrong button. I hate to pay the capital gains tax on this. So yeah, it is kind of funny because you can imagine in 2019 when this was sold for $220,000, people would have been saying, probably people like many collectors go, mate, that's completely Burko. Who the hell's going to do that? You could buy a house for that practically, right? And you're right. 5 years later, it's $1.3 million. So guess who got the last laugh out of that one? I agree, Kel. That is a wow and a half, which then prompts the question, Mr. Aaron. 5 years from now, let's round it off to 2030, right? Is suddenly $1.3 million cheap as chips and the things go for a couple of $1 million? What do you reckon, dude?
Collectibles tend not to ever go down. There are little ups and downs, but they tend to always appreciate in value. Nothing you could get for 10 years ago can you get cheaper now, as a general rule. That said, I was offered one of those, a real one of those, for $20,000, and I thought that was ridiculous going back 15 years. So I could have bought a rocket firing Boba Fett for $20,000. And I thought that was ridiculous. There you go. If you kept it for 15 years, 20,000 to 1.5 million US. It's like a lottery ticket, really.
Yeah, it is actually. It's the gift that keeps on giving. I like this one from Rusky Babes. When I first read it, I misread it. And I thought, oh, hang on, don't interpret this the wrong way, kids. Be funny if the guy who bought it has a kid who chokes on the rock. You'll be whacking him in the back. That's $1 million, you little bastard. Spit it out. Bing.
Don't save the kid, Doctor. Save the rocket.
Actually, you can imagine, right? Because you got the father at the back whacking the kid in the back, and you got the mother in the front going, "Spit it out, you little bastard!" It goes whack straight into her eye. She's got a freaking rocket. It's straight out of like Trip to the Moon. It's got a freaking rocket sticking out of the eye.
Yeah.
And when they stick it back in the packet, and then someone later on looks and go, "What's that slimy stuff on the top of the rocket?" It's actually Sarlacc entrails or something. Oh, that's actually very, very funny. I love that. What was I going to say? I did read the article. It actually said that, when it was all being purchased, I mean, Star Wars does have peaks and troughs, right? There are occasions where sorry, I'm just going to backtrack. One of the reasons why I think the value just went completely Burko was because of the new series, the Mandalorian series and Boba Fett and blah, 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 blah. Suddenly it's back in the public eye again, right? So had this been in as a guest 2012 when Star Wars was relatively quiet, aside from maybe the Clone Wars and maybe Rebels, it probably would have been a bit cheaper. But now that Boba Fett's in the public eye, it's probably gone up. And with Mandalorian coming out in the next couple of years, assuming Boba Fett or someone like him makes an appearance, it'd probably go up again. So, yeah.
Well, do you know who I feel sorry for? There is about 20 rocket firing Boba Fett's known to exist. They're all in different stages. Some are unpainted, some are different molds. I feel sorry for the Kenner employees who stole these originally and had them in their house and found them and go, what's this? Takes them to a dealer, and the dealer goes, you've got something really good there. I'll give you $500 for it. I mean, it's one of those things where that is literally what happened. These only existed because they were sales samples, or Kenner employees basically took them home because they weren't being used. And yeah, back 20 years ago when collecting got big and people wanted these, they did sell them for prices like that because it seemed really, really good. For action figures are $5, they get 500. Now that person who sees it go for 1.5 million, that's got to hurt a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah, you know what that means? There's going to be all these people out there, and we've seen this already, who'll be buying the normal Boba Fett's and ripping the thing out the back and drilling in the J shape and trying to pass them off as the real thing. We've actually seen replicas come through your store made by people who intentionally sell them as replicas, and they don't have the holes in the bottom to prove that they're replicas. But yeah, at that price, you're thinking, mate, if I get any one stooge who coughs up, you say, I'll sell it to you for, look, cheap, 800 grand, it's all yours, right? Done, out the door. You're in a different country, and you've just made yourself a winner. But
have we got time for a dodgy Boba Fett toy story? Before all the digital printing and before like all these copies were available, I did buy a couple of custom ones for my collection. And when I sold up a lot of my Star Wars stuff, I put them on eBay and I said, these are custom, these are not real. I got a couple of $100 each for them. And I won't name the shop that bought them, but I knew who bought them because you can see who buy them. They went to a shop, and I had clearly advertised it as a replica, and they sold it as the real deal for $1,500.
Yeah, unfortunately, the unscrupulous people are quite common within the industry, so just keep your eyes open. So if you see anybody selling you one off that a rocket-firing Boba Fett prototype that fell off the back of a truck, chances are it's a dodgy one. All right, that's the end of that. So that's the Boba Fett. Yeah, okay, a lot of money being spent. We'll just see if it comes up for sale in a few years' time and goes for $1 million. So this came out during the week. A trailer has come out regarding the documentary. I had to really look at the title of it. Superman, the Christopher Reeve story. And I think this only just came out a couple of days ago. Did you watch this at all? I tell you what, it's an absolute 12 Kleenex special. Dude, what do you reckon?
I did. It's actually in the cinema like next week. So the trailer's dropped and it's in the cinema really fast. I actually would really like to go and see it because it is a genre-related movie, but it's basically a biopic on Christopher Reeve and his struggles after he became a quadriplegic. And it looks really, really good. Like you said, it probably is quite a sad movie, but I do like behind the scenes movies, and I have seen just about every aspect of the Superman movies behind the scene, but this is something different, and it had footage in the trailer I had never seen before.
I agree with Spankin. You'll always be our Superman. Totally agree. I'm trying to work out as to whether there's an anniversary reason for this coming out this year. I don't know what it is. Did something happen 10 years ago, 20 years ago? This year is it was just by chance this is the year it's coming out. Any thoughts on that?
I think at the end of the trailer it just says it's coming out because of the fund or whatever. Christopher and his wife, is it Dana Reed? I can't remember.
Oh, I'm not sure. Yeah.
It's so a part of it goes for the charity for that. So it is partial a charity movie making money for a good cause. I don't know if it's coming out for an anniversary or anything though.
That's fine. So for those who haven't seen the trailer, I mean, you get some biopics that are like reasonably good, and you get some that really look spectacular. And this one is really like the warts and all sort of story, very professionally made, looks good, sounds good. And yeah, it's obviously a very, very tragic story. But the trailer alone is definitely well worth checking out. And I suspect the movie itself will be exceptional when it does arrive. So it'll be almost like, funny enough, Superman the movie itself. Superman the movie was in two halves, the Kal-El stuff at the start. And then you go, the young Clark Kent, and then you got the Superman stuff in part 2. And I reckon this documentary will be similar. Yeah.
I've got a good tagline for it. You will believe a man has wheels.
You see, with the Paralympics on right now, even as I speak, that is just not funny at all, dude. You should be completely ashamed of yourself while you're laughing your head off in between comments, which is a very, very groovy. Actually, I just got to press a button here. So guess what? So that's that. So if you haven't had a chance to check it out, you must do so. On a completely unrelated note, okay? Robin Williams paid for most of his medical bills. Yes, as shown in the documentary, they're actually very good friends. Superman 4 anniversary? No, I don't know. I don't think so. So, yes, the quest for a better sequel. So this is coming out. So I did a bit of reading regarding this. Good old Starfleet Academy. If you can't get enough Star Trek shows in the world, and Colin, who is joining us right now, the president of the Star Trek fan club, Starfleet Academy. Now, the funny thing is, Rusky Babes, who's watching this right now, when he was doing fan videos for conventions way back in the 80s, he actually did a Starfleet Academy fan video for a convention in 1990. Who knew that 34 years later, there'd actually be a real Starfleet Academy series? Now, have you done any reading about this whatsoever? Because I did, and I was actually something very, very surprising come up about it.
I was going to apply. I didn't know it was a series.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the funny thing about Starfleet Academy, I mean, the natural assumption is that it's set in the 24th century, the James Kirk era or the Picard era or whatever, but it's actually set in the 32nd century era, which is the third season of Star Trek Discovery. So for those who didn't watch Discovery, they disappear into the 100 years into the future, or 200 years, 300 years, million years, whatever. And Starfleet doesn't exist. They somehow rebuild it all. And it's actually the Academy regarding that. And the advantage of that is they can start with a whole new, fresh outlook. So they're not interrupting any continuity anywhere. And they can create their own canon. I thought, well, that's different. And it's aimed at the young generation now, people, not like old farts like us. And I thought, that's very interesting. What do you reckon, dude?
That's amazing. Imagine the diverse and brave cast they can have on that one.
Well, from what I understand, it is aimed deliberately at younger people. So who knows what they're going to do with it and how it's all meant to look. But I thought about it and I thought it makes a lot of sense to do it that way because they are starting with a completely fresh canvas. And who's to say that in years to come that all of Star Trek, new Star Trek shows, all focus on the 32nd century onwards, based around what happened with the Discovery and Starfleet Academy. So I think the potential there is actually really, really good to create some interesting stuff.
Well, the one thing I've got to say about Star Trek is if you look at the Star Trek shows, the original Star Trek, Next Gen, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise, they all were based around the same kind of model. Deep Space Nine was a little bit different. The new Star Trek is brave and at least it's doing other things. You've got time traveling the future, you've got Starfleet Academy, you've got a sitcom coming up, you've got the movie that looks not like a Star Trek movie, and then you've got, I guess, the legacy universe that they might go into, and you've got Strange New Worlds. So there is something for everyone in Star Trek. Whether everyone likes all the series, that's the question, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's the thing. So, but they're definitely catering to a brand new audience. Kelvin has said, yeah, they've been trying for years to get this off the ground. Even I'd heard about that. But I always thought of Starfleet Academy based around the prior and the Next Gen era because you actually go to Starfleet Academy in that series, when they look to Wesley and whatever else. But the fact they're going into the distant future, I thought, all right, fair call. And I reckon that's actually good out-of-the-box thinking, and we'll have to see how it all transpires. The only problem will be, of course, they'll be dealing with a whole new canon effectively. So everything that we know, regarding the Enterprise and Kirk and Picard, they probably won't even get referenced because it's so far in the future. Yeah, sorry, dude, go for it.
I was just going to say it could be the Calvin Academy.
Could be, but it won't be. So there we go, fans. Anyway, Starfleet Academy, I think it's during the next year or two, so be sure to check it out. When the time comes, no doubt we'll have a chat about it on this series, providing we're not into the 32nd century. What do you reckon about that, dude?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll still be around chatting about sci-fi stuff until we're old men, or until I'm as old as you.
Well, exactly right. Russell said, yeah, his Starfleet Academy video was actually inspired by rumors of a spin-off series in the 90s, which was very, very cool. Anyway, so that's Star Trek, right? Okay, whoosh, we're going to whoosh because that one off. The other thing that's going on, there's stuff coming out everywhere. So the rumor is that Predator Badlands, which of course is the sequel to Prey, for those who saw it, is actually filming in New Zealand, which I thought was actually kind of interesting. And it's obviously under a different working title, but the what do you call it? Not the theory, the word on the street, right? If you like read the tea leaves, apparently it actually sounds a little bit similar to Acolyte, where you got two sisters who are going on different paths. I don't know. I just read that today. It could be complete rubbish. But I understand this is actually in production at the moment. So in New Zealand, of all places, Predator Badlands. Because if you remember, and I know Ads is watching us right now, if you saw Prey, in terms of Predator movies, Prey was a freaking grouse one. So if they do something along the similar lines to that, what do you reckon, dude? That could be a bit of a winner.
New Zealand. I hope the Predator comes to New Zealand to win the Bledisloe Cup from the All Blacks, because he's about the only one that's ever going to take it away from them.
So anyway, Badlands. What do you reckon, dude? Do you reckon that has the potential after they've done Prey? Prey was really spectacular. For those who don't know, it was set back in the Native American, I don't know what the tribes are called, blah 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 blah, 200 years ago thing, and it was an excellent Predator movie. Dealing with knives and stones and shit like that. So it's a sequel to that set some years after. But what do you reckon? Do you reckon that has a potential to be an absolute winner?
I think it does. I think Prey was a step in the right direction for the Predator movies, and if they keep this one to the same standard, I think it'll be a good watch.
Yes, I think so too, if they keep the same formula. Now, we haven't done, I'm going to have to chuck one of these because we haven't done this for a while, but this is just too good to pass up. So you got a fun factoid, and this one I will chuck in because we've got the Paralympics on the way. It's doggies. He always spells it Dossie. A Doctor Who club president won a Paralympics medal back in the day, and then got an Order of Australia as well, which is true. Jodie Willis.
Jodie Willis? Yeah.
Yes, Jodie Willis. So there you go. How about that? See, mate, if a Doctor Who fan club can spawn like a gold medalist, or I think there's or at least an Olympic medalist, or a Paralympic medalist, then what's the rest of the clubs have to up their game? What do you reckon? Also, don't make any jokes. Right? I know exactly where you're going with this.
The 100-meter draw? I don't know. Well, I think it is one of those things. She won for being visually impaired, and I do think that is one of those things that the Doctor Who fan club has a feather in the cap. I can't think of any other fan club that has a medal winner for the Olympics in.
Yep, totally agree. Which is anyway. So Predator Badlands. Okay, so oh my god, where we go with all this stuff. And I like this one from Adzi. You haven't seen a real predator until anyone doing the hug. Freaking hell, where's it going with this? Unbelievable.
Oh, we're getting cancelled tonight, aren't we?
I tell you what, you got to stop. Spankin said AVP sucked. There you go. Huh?
Yeah, Predator cultural appropriation. They steal all the weapons and stuff, and it could happen.
It could indeedy doody doddy. Anyway, apparently it's filming in New Zealand. Make of that where you go. All right, so in more news, because it still hasn't stopped. This got announced, I think, yesterday. So good old Sigourney Weaver, good old Ripley, is going to be involved with Mandalorian and Grogu. How about that? That's what you call a Mexican franchises. What do you reckon about that, dude?
I don't know. Get away from her, you bitch. It's one of those things where I really, really like Sigourney Weaver early movies, but I don't know. I don't know if you saw her in Defenders, which was the Marvel TV series where she played a villain. It just wasn't that great. That said, every role is different, and it was a lot more to do with the writing than her. And she is a science fiction icon, so her becoming part of the Star Wars universe is probably a good thing. And you know what? People will watch it just to see what they do with Sigourney Weaver.
Well, they're chucking in all these people from other movies and series, because you had Trinity from Matrix. I like this one. Yeah, Predator takes out the Hobbits. And I like what you just said. I mean, of course, if you're going to have Sigourney in the show, then clearly you got to have the bit with Bo-Katan and Grogu and yeah, go, dude. So that is just too good to pass up, eh?
I didn't even know you had made that, but that was the first thing I thought as well.
There you go. It goes hand in hand with it, doesn't it? Eh? So, look, I think it's great, but it is funny. I don't even know what the character will be or why or whatever else. But after having who was the actress who played Trinity? I've just gone blank.
Carrie-Anne Moss.
Carrie-Anne Moss in Acolyte, and all of a sudden, Sigourney gets brought into Mandalorian. You're thinking, is there a thing about bringing in actresses from previous sci-fi franchises? Then you watch people start making up a list. It's like, who else can you chuck in who hasn't been brought in yet? So, I reckon there's going to be a shitload. There's going to be sorry, just let me finish this. There's going to be a shitload of memes coming around everywhere just regarding this exact thing. Sorry, go for it, dude.
So will she be playing Mon Ripley?
Good on you. There is no Dana, only Grogu. Yes, exactly right. Speaking of which, by the way, here's the latest Hot Goss fans, mate. Just settle, right? This is serious. Okay, this is serious. I heard a rumor that the movie is actually getting a name change already. Right? They've said Mandalorian and Grogu. It's not working for the audience, so they decided to change to Mandalorian and the Cash Cow.
Do you know what? I heard a rumor that Bananarama are going to do the soundtrack.
Are they? Why would they be doing the soundtrack, dude?
Because they have a song called "I Heard a Rumor."
I knew there was a joke there, but I didn't get it. All right, so there we go. Oh my goodness gracious me! So anyway, yes, the chuck in the cash cow. I couldn't help myself. I had to do that today. But I think,
Don't
look,
worry,
it's great.
Dags,
Good on us. Huh?
Don't worry, it was Dags. It was a dad joke, and I'm guilty in the first degree.
Hang on, shut up. You at least Karen liked it. Yeah, see, they get the cash cow, nice one. Yeah, yes. Grogu the cash cow. I mean, as we said, they've put the name in there so it can sell 1 billion tickets, and no doubt it will do exactly that. But yes, having Sigourney in it, apparently she's a main character in it as well, which is very, very good. So,
do you know what? I want the Grogu popcorn bottle where you unscrew his head and eat all the popcorn, and they color it green popcorn out of Grogu.
Well, you never know, because as you said, like Grogu gets taken out by a chest burster. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, who knows what they're going to do with the popcorn bucket for that? If they do, I mean, it's just it writes its own money. If they do a Grogu popcorn bucket and it looks great, I mean, hey, you take shit out of his head, that's going to look weird. Take out frogs or something. They'll sell billions of the damn things. So, mate, totally the go. So, yes, very, very cool. What do you reckon, dude? All good?
Yeah, do you know what? It'll be a Star Wars movie I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, well, we're going to see it and no doubt to have a chat about it and see what happens. I agree with Colin. Yes, Ching, yeah, absolutely 100% all the way. All right, so another thing that's coming out, more things, and this is actually a good one, right? And there are people watching this right now who are big fans of this show. Good old Blake 7, believe it or not, is getting a complete revamp on Blu-ray with all new visual effects and doodads and thingoids. And I've got to say, because we discussed this on this show, I don't know, X amount of episodes ago about, if they could fix up something, what would be good to fix up? And we actually said Blake 7. And they've jazzed up the effects, they've remastered it and done all this exciting stuff. It's coming out on Blu-ray. And I say all power to them. What do you reckon, dude?
For me, it was one of the best trailers I've seen for a television series in ages. I love Blake 7, and we discussed before, the only thing that let it down was sub-Doctor Who level special effects, and now they've really unleashed the... what's good about the effects, they're obviously CGI and model work and everything, but they look like they were made at the time on an unlimited budget. So it isn't beyond what was happening at the time in the movies and stuff. And that's what I really like, where they're retro but new. What did you think of the trailer?
I loved it. I never watched Blake 7 when it came out. A lot of my friends were really into it. Rusky Babes is one of them. And it just wasn't for me. I just didn't get around to it. But knowing that they've sort of jazzed that up now, I think is absolutely spectacular. And I say all power to them. And it's something I'd actually seriously consider giving a bit of a go. So, I think it's taken decades for them to do it, but they're finally here, and I think it'll be a big success because it has a very, very strong fan following, especially people who do like English sci-fi. And Mark has said, there's a lot of people I think have already done the pre-ordering, which I think is very, very grippy. See, Karan has said he's never heard of it. You know what? You're not the only one, Karan. It came and went decades ago. In the early 80s, it finished. And was it shot in space? Yeah, it is a space thing. And if anything, it's almost like a precursor to Firefly. So it follows a very, very similar theme to Firefly.
Yeah, it is one of those things. I did pre-order it straight away. I think if it's limited, I think it'll sell out, because it is one of those things. A lot of sci-fi fans have been waiting for ages to get a really nice digital upgrade of Blake 7. It could go through a bit of a renaissance. When we get it, maybe we'll do a season watch and a review on DNA Reviews or something. I'd be up for that.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I think it'll be very, very groovy. Considering I don't know if you've ever watched it, but I've never seen any of it. I know about the last episode, but that's about it. Where were we? Rusky Babes said they got the original models and some replicas and done a mix of green screen and CGI. Even if the CGI does look a bit dated like home computers, it's got to be better than what they did originally. So I think that's actually very, very cool. And comes out in November. Yep.
I don't know if you would remember this. One of my all-time wish I could have bought items, but it was too expensive. Minotaur Books in Burke Street for years and years and years had a studio quality Liberator.
Oh, dude, you're breaking up. You've got something running in the background on your computer.
Where you can draw.
Yeah, Yeah. All right. So there we go. Okay, so our dude is doing his own Max Headroom impersonation. So you got something running in your background on your computer, dude. Can you just check it for me, please? Because you just broke up on me. You there? Am I on?
I'm not sure.
No. Yep. Check. Anyway, so check the background, dude. See if you got anything running that shouldn't be running, or if someone else is chewing up your internet. But very good. Are you back?
He's off.
He's off. There we go. This is the advantage.
I've got
it's
nothing
funny.
running. Everything's off.
Okay, unless someone else is chewing up the internet in the house. It's very funny. I was just recently reading a book that Rusky Babes let me about when they used to do live TV in Britain in the 40s and the 50s. And it's just the stories that they would say about the trials and tribulations of doing live programming. And of course, it's a bit like that. It's a warts and all experience. So someone needs to liberate Aaron. Yes, I totally agree. Yeah, check 12. Check 12. Check 1, 2, 1, 2. Yep, exactly right. Aaron is frozen. Yes, exactly right. So you still with us, dude? You hanging in there? Oh, mate, look at that. How about that? I might have to do the rest of the show by myself. We haven't got to the good stuff yet. What the hell, man? What is the deal with that? So
okay, so I've switched over and I'm running off my phone, so we should be all right. No one's draining my phone internet.
All right, very, very cool. Good stuff. All right, so that's that anyway. And of course, the last thing that I've got to just talk about, which actually leads us into our main discussion, this has been all over the internet. I think it's very, very clever to deal with Alien Romulus. Of course, it's the Finding Xeno meme. That is actually very clever. I don't know who did that, but I've got to admit, that's just popping up everywhere. And I've got to admit, that's pretty good. What do you reckon, dude?
Oh, I see that. That looks delicious. The best thing about a face hugger is there's like 8 drumsticks when you eat it.
It's definitely feed a family of
Aliens would have been a much shorter movie if I was in it. You know what would have happened? You'd have seen the face hugger go on. Everyone looks around, and then about 3 seconds later, see me going, gone.
Absolutely love it. And regarding your freezing, I like this one. The Matrix is glitching. Yes, exactly right. Very, very cool. So there you go. That's that. And that's actually going to lead us into our main topic of discussion, our big one for tonight. Good old Alien Romulus came out. Now, we were supposed to talk about this last week, but of course we had a guest on. And we're a bit late, but good old, and there's going to be spoilers. I think most people have seen it or don't really give a rat's bum either way. But Alien Romulus, dude, you and I saw it together on its premiere night. It's been 2 weeks now. What do you reckon?
I've got a question without warning for you. What happened to a question without warning?
Oh, it's coming after this, mate. It's take a chill pill, son. Yeah. The question without warning is when's a question without warning? Things are on their way, and it's a good one tonight. So for those who are watching, we do a question without warning later on, and it is an absolute ball terror. Don't leave the show, and don't do an hour and freeze up on me either. Okay, so yes. What do you reckon, dude? Alien Romulus. What?
Yeah, so we organised, Dags and I and a couple of people I work with, we organised to go and see it the day it came out, basically about a week and a half ago. I'm a big, huge Alien fan. I'm a horror fan, so I really love the first Alien because I think that's a horror movie tension in a science fiction scene. I really love the second Alien. That's a action movie in a science fiction scene. And they're both different enough to be excellent standalone movies, but they're obviously different parts of the same universe. So those are head and shoulders 2 of my favorite science fiction movies ever. So Alien Romulus has a lot to live up to. And there was some of it that I thought was brilliant, and some of it I thought was utter crap. So we go into spoilers here. So anyone who hasn't seen it might want to plug their ears as well.
See, I remember, for those who remember watching our show here weeks ago, months ago, years ago, decades ago, I had said when this got announced, if they bring something new to the table, something new to the entire continuity that's never been done before, then that'll be really cool. That'll be really different, right? That'll be really interesting. But ultimately, they kind of didn't do that. I found it was just a sort of like cherry picking out of the other 5 movies because there's bits of Prometheus in there. And I found it got to the end and go, well, we didn't really add anything to the entire continuity. It was pretty much just similar bits that we'd seen from the other movies. But there were parts of it, and I agree with that were really, really good. And I would actually rate it definitely better than Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection because I can't stand those freaking movies. But, it was... You just couldn't help but say, okay, they've got this bit from here, this bit from there, and they just sort of followed that pattern. It was almost like Force Awakens for Alien fans. So, Yeah, it's each of their own. But there's a comment here from Christy. She said that a couple on a first date are raving about on a cafe today. One of the things that I have noted is that if you've never seen any Alien movies ever, and this is probably for younger people, they would have loved it. But I guess us
Yeah.
seasoned farts like us who've seen all the movies multiple times, it didn't have the same impact.
Yeah, it is one of those things where I guess they were trying to appeal to nostalgia for people who loved all the movies. There was something from each one of them, I think. But I think it's absolutely fine to do that as long as you bring something new to the table, and people will be talking about the unique thing from this movie as well, or the great line from this movie. Like even that is how Hicks showed Ripley how to fire a pulse rifle. It was photocopied scene from scene for a lot of this stuff. I really love the opening. I really love the stuff. It started on a colony, and it's something we haven't really seen. The Wayland tsunami sort of colonies and how they treat the people. And I really liked the backstory for that, and I really liked the setup. And I really liked when they got onto the Romulus spaceship and it started doing setup from that, and Romulus and Remus and great gods and that kind of Greek god, and it kind of got back into the Prometheus even. I'm like, oh, they're actually going to link all this up with the gods and the namings and things like that. And then it really just turned into a patchwork of the other movies with the face hugger scenes and stuff we've seen in just about everything before. And there were some really cool things in this we hadn't seen before. Face hugger blood in Zero Gravity. I thought that was a really great idea, but then it didn't really have the impact I think it could have done if they'd done some other stuff with it. And the thing that I found very disappointing, we were in a cinema, it was about 3/4 full, I would say. When they reveal the big bad guy at the end, most of the cinema laughed. You don't want, in a tense horror action, people to be laughing at the final protagonist in the movie.
Yeah, that was a problem because so that's this dude here, right? The thing that I thought was like, unfortunately, it's a bit of a same old, same old. We've seen alien human crossbreeds before in Resurrection, so it wasn't anything new. And even if you could say this offspring is something else, the principle is still the same. And I thought, well, even that's copying something we've seen already. So that was that issue that I had. And I thought what you said, and I've forgotten where I was. There was a comment here. Karan said, "Are there any good Easter eggs?" There's actually quite a few, and some of them are actually really, really clever. So for this, you remember the start of Alien when they open up the dining area? You got the duck, the bird thing that dunks into the water. Well, that features in the background of one scene, and I thought that was actually really, really clever. That was a really good one, actually. There were a number of others, but I'll have to think about him in a sec. But what did you want to say, dude?
There was the one thing that I didn't get because I haven't played the game. Apparently, there were a lot of Easter eggs to Alien Isolation, save points and scenarios from that. And probably people who played that might have got more out of the movie than I did.
So one thing I did pick up on is that once again, they were copying scenes from the previous movies. And the thing that I kind of got a little bit frustrated with, if you want to use a better term, and this isn't it, by the way, is that, well, this is actually straight out of Aliens. You had to go up an elevator and sort of find the way where the ship was leaving. You know, that's copied straight from Aliens. The sequence where the alien xenomorph looks at her straight in the face, like a side-on shot, it's like that's straight out of Alien 3. And the cherry picking, as I said, of the ideas from the previous movies, it's like, okay, we've sort of seen it all before. So it was the whole thing. Remember, I said the last thing you want is to see people on a spaceship being hunted by aliens. That's been done in at least 2 of the 4 movies previously, and effectively it had all just been done previously, all been done before. So lacking originality in a lot of areas. And it was like, even when they find the area where the aliens have all built their hives, that's a straight out of the second movie, and it's like there was nothing different, and I found that to be quite disappointing, even though there were some parts that really worked.
The really crazy thing about that as well, I don't know if it was rewrites or the studio made them put those scenes in, but it was really set up quite early that they had the alien from the first movie. There was one alien on the loose kind of thing from a face hugger. And then the final act of the movie is where I thought it fell apart, because they go down to the bottom area of the station and there's an alien hive there with tons of aliens. I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Where did they all come from? It needed a bit more explanation and backstory, I think.
One of the things that really did it gave me the shits though, and I saw we did this as a joke earlier on, where I can't remember who says he has the gun on the xenomorph and says, "Get away from her, you bitch." And of course, the joke doesn't work because xenomorphs are male. The queen is female. A drone is not a female. So as soon as he said, "Get away from her," and I thought, stop right there, don't say the rest of it. And they said the rest of it, I go, no, oh my God. So that was really dumb. It's like it's been specifically set up that the queens are definitely the females and the drones are males. So just like
I thought, I thought like it traded on the currency of the old movie. So that line is there because it's from the old movie. I'd have liked something like, "Get away from her, you whatever you are," something different for this movie, because they don't know, like you said, they don't know, it shouldn't be that line.
Yeah, exactly right. I don't know if this is the character of Andy, the robot who's kind of malfunctioning. I did like the idea of that, even though they did introduce the fact that when you change his chip, he takes 2 minutes to boot up, right? And there's a big scary moment. Oh my God, save the day, dude! I know he's too busy like getting the technical kick in the guts. And then later on, when they change him back again, he just reboots immediately, and they go, well, that was a Chekhov's gun that got chucked out the window.
Well, there was a lot of comedy stuff. I'd love to see that reboot scene where they put the Microsoft tone, and when he's updating, doing when he's rebooting, doing the dial-up download thing. That would have been quite funny, or something like that. The issue I had, I'm really into the writing and the mechanics of story, and they set a lot of the characters up, and I thought, oh, this is going to be good. And one of the characters at the start has a prejudice against androids, and he's quite violent and quite rude and put down to Andy. And I thought, oh, I know his story arc. He's going to hate him. Andy is going to save him. He's going to have a change of heart, and then he might die saving Andy, because that's a character arc. No, he just gets wiped out, and that's the end of it. I was just like, what? Why put story sort of into him if it doesn't pay off at all? And that's why I wonder if the studio meddled and said, no, we just cut all that out. People want member berries, like go back and put this in from Alien and this from Alien. So it was a bit disappointing in that way for me. If you turn your mind off and go and watch a good sort of sci-fi action movie, it's good.
I did like this one from William Kelvin. Time was out of whack. Alien chest bursting was as bad as happened too quick. You are right. In the first movie, it takes yonks before the chest burster comes out of Kane. Now it's almost like as soon as the face hugger's off, the thing's bursting out of your chest almost straight away. Talk about fast tracking the gestation period.
Well, talk about fast tracking. Oh, I've got my fingers frozen and they might snap off because I've touched liquid nitrogen. And then they're fine the next scene, and they're getting melted by alien blood the next scene after that. I'm like, boy, that guy's poor fingers. They've really taken a beating in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, and one of the things that we actually said is when the station crashes on the rings are just like ice generally for a planet, not like freaking razor blades. So we thought, wouldn't it just destroy the rings instead of the other way around? But whatever.
The other thing was, they had it with a countdown because the station was going to hit the rings, and it was for tension. But it was such a big action movie. It would have actually been better if the characters had proactively set the station going to hit the rings to destroy it, because it was more of an action movie than a slow burn. And I thought, at least that way they've got a mission to do. They're going to save everyone because their company's going to try and infect everyone on the planet or something like that. The trouble with me is I come up with a movie in my head as I'm watching the movie, which the actual movie we're watching sometimes lets me down.
Yeah, and I agree with Christy. Yeah, the loose threads that went nowhere. So, and the only thing I picked up on straight away is they found the alien from the Narcissus from the original movie, and it's like, hang on, how did they find that when they haven't found Ripley yet? She's still floating in space, and it's like, I have to do some checking to see if there's a bit of a disconnect between the timelines, because this is supposed to be set before Aliens, but by the sounds of it has to occur sometime after Aliens, because they find Ripley, get the logs. Oh, she got rid of an alien. We'll go out into space and find it, as I understand it. So, but as we said, look, it wasn't all bad. I think in the grand scheme of things, as the years roll on, it'll just get forgotten. It hasn't really done anything that really set itself down in stone to say, yes, this is something that is absolutely spectacular. It's not like Prey, for example, out of the Predator franchise. It wasn't disastrous, but yeah, it wasn't like the best thing in the world ever. So, but it did come out with a damn good popcorn bucket. Is that right, dude?
Yeah, and I was going to get one. A friend in New York was going to pick it up, but scalpers bought all of them on the very first day. So couldn't even get one from someone over in America. So apparently they were about $30 for a popcorn bucket, which is quite expensive, but they're selling on eBay for about $100.
There you go. All right, so we're going to move on from Alien Romulus because we're actually running a little bit behind time. One thing I'm going to bring up, last week we had Don Bees on the show, right? We had a competition and we said, this is the caption that we got here. What is actually George Lucas saying right here? And Karana was very quick and he actually said, Aaron's Collectibles is this way. And this is the direction you need to head into because it's time for a commercial break because, dude, you're having a massive sale this weekend. What's the deal?
Absolutely. This is why I've been under the pump all week trying to get it already. We're having a monster, as you can see, Godzilla-sized sale for Father's Day, 25% off everything in the shop, absolutely everything. So if you've had your eye on something and you thought it was expensive, come in this weekend and buy it, even if you get it for someone for Christmas. It's a good opportunity. But we're not just having a monster sale in the shop, we're having a monster garage sale upstairs as well. And this is exciting to a lot of people, especially people like Greg Kim, who are nothing so $5. And I know Greg has a $2 rule, but there's a lot of $2 items as well. When you go to a garage sale, you know, you go out, you pull over, you find one or two toys or one or two good things, and that's pretty lucky. Our garage sale, everything is awesome. It's Star Wars, Marvel, DC, Smurfs, Doctor Who, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Masters of the Universe. So we're not clearing out just all the shitty stuff. We're actually clearing out some quite good stuff, nothing over $5. And I can tell you, we have other dealers come in and load up bags full of stuff because they resell it on eBay and different platforms. So get in early. You're guaranteed to find something you want. There is that much stuff up there. Kiss, where else can you get like a 6-pack $5? Come on, that's like Ken Bruce levels of insanity.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it when I saw that. So for those who don't know, it's actually a stubby set of 6 bottles of beer from the Kiss Destroyer tour, and they're still mint in condition, mint box. It's less than $1 a bottle. How freaking awesome is that, dude?
We're so crazy. We're selling them without a liquor license. So shh.
Don't drink them on site. That's all we can say. But yeah, it's going to be absolutely, for those who went to the last one, it's going to be absolutely Burko. There's going to be stuff going on everywhere. The garage sale upstairs in the store. There's going to be wall-to-wall nerds. It is going to be packed to the eyeballs. People buy stuff, $5 for every, or less for every item. How good is that, dude?
Can you put Colin's comment up because I want to insult him?
Yeah, go for it.
There are some Star Trek items up there, but I deliberately put it up 2 flights of stairs so you couldn't get up there, mate.
Yeah, and you still got to pick up a Defiant while you're there too, Mr. Collins. So don't forget that too. The model ship, which has been sitting in the back. There we go. How good is that?
What? I forgot about that. Yeah, Colin, come and pick up your model.
But look at this, man. There's stuff everywhere. This is absolutely grouse. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be like feeding time at the zoo up there. What do you reckon, dude? I reckon it's going to be absolutely bizarro. Look at that. You've got Daleks on the right-hand side. Mate, Docky Who stuff. Very, very cool.
Very, very cool. I go up there and think I'd buy this for more than I'm selling it for. What am I doing?
I absolutely love it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. So there is something for everyone. Ads has said, why'd it have to be this weekend? Missing out on Xbox session. Dude, you got to drive to the Xbox session. Just pop into the store on the way. Problem solved. What can I say? Which is absolutely fantastic. So that is very, very cool. So that's Aaron's Collectibles. You got to be there this Saturday and Sunday. As you said, dude, it's a Father's Day thing, right? So if you're a dad or if you're not a dad, get your furry ones down there. Start buying up big because it's Dad's Day. Forget the power drills from freaking Bunnings. Get or shit from Super Cheap Auto for your car. Get some collectibles. Is that right, dude?
Yeah, and William, there is no Flash Gordon. What Flash Gordon merchandise is there?
Yeah, well, exactly. You can invent your own if you want, just like we invented our own Docky Yockies. We open at 10 o'clock. What?
We do have some Gordon figures in the shop, though, in the garage at 25% off.
Jesus Christ, you're still playing up with your audio there, dude. Time is 10 o'clock and no early birds. You just have to line up at the front with everybody else. Like last time, they're actually queuing up to get in. Absolutely insane. So that is a very, very, very cool. What do you reckon, dude? You reckon that's exciting? Are you excited, dude? Are you yourself pumped and excited or what?
I'll be excited the day after when I'm counting the money.
Very good. The capitalist dog will be feeding himself like luxury, pal. So I absolutely
be able to pay the rent this month.
Very, very cool. Well, guess what, fans? That's the end of that part. Now it's a bit of, we're doing things a bit arse about this time around, but there's a reason for it, because now, after all this time, it's time for this.
A question.
Now, this was actually a bit of an easy one, a bit of a no-brainer. When I sat and thought about it, I go, oh, of course, if I'm going to ask a question, I'm going to ask this question. And the question is a really simple one. I was going to do this last week, but we couldn't. Question is, dude, should season 2 of The Acolyte have been cancelled? Are you frozen? Have you frozen? Oh, you got to be kidding me. Seriously? Oh, you got to be kidding me. Dude, are you there? Oh,
I'm here. I don't know why it shouldn't be frozen. So am I on or am I not on?
Yeah, you're on now, dude. So should season 2 of The Acolyte have been cancelled?
It's an interesting question because I didn't like The Acolyte and I didn't think it added much to the Star Wars universe. But since it's been cancelled, there's been enough people, up in the air over it being cancelled that there's actually petitions online to keep it going. Now, I didn't like it, but if there are really that many people who want to see it, I don't think it should have been cancelled, because I would hate a movie or TV series that I liked that was cancelled, and other people like really hated it, but I thought it was worthwhile. I would like that series to continue. Now, from a financial point of view, no. $200 million, that series did not look like it was worth it. And if I was a Disney investor, I would be very upset. And it didn't attract as many downloads or viewers as they would have liked. So again, as a Disney investor, I would have been upset. So you've got the 2 points of view. You've got me as a sci-fi fan empathizing with someone who has a series cancelled. No, maybe they say it's coming back. It's got half the budget, right? It's all in like a couple of locations, and we'll finish it off. And they introduced Darth Plagueis, and Yoda was in the last episode, so maybe the next series would have been. I'm interested in seeing series 2 though, but I would one rate something cancelled where there was enough people who liked it. What did you think?
Yeah, just so you know, you still got breakup issues, dude. So just let you know. I enjoyed Acolyte. I wondered about how Yoda may have been portrayed in the show. He was just chucked in as an Easter egg at the end, so chances are he wouldn't be portrayed at all. I found it interesting. I think a lot of the people who have been arcing up saying it should not have been cancelled are the ones playing. I can't think of the best way to say this. It's the new generation card, is looking after people of this ilk. I don't know what the terms are, right? Without offending shitloads of people, right? But those who like the diversity angle and all those sort of things, they're loving it because of that. Now, I don't know if they're loving it, if they wanted the show back because they thought it was a good quality show, or because of the fact that it catered for the diversity angle. Using as an example, there's hardly any Caucasian males in it at all. So if you're flying the flag for the show because you want it to stay on this path, then that's actually the wrong reason to save it. You got to save it because you actually like the story, the characters, and what it stands for. And I get the feeling that a lot of it is flag flying or card waving or whatever else, rather than people saying, yeah, we actually love what they're doing. A good example of that is what happened with Andor. Now, with Andor season 1, there was meant to be one season. There's supposed to be 5 seasons of that show. Andor was outstandingly good, but it got cut down to 2 seasons only. The second season's due out next year, I think. So I think the people who are sort of arcing up about Acolyte are doing so because they've got an agenda, not because they thought it was actually a really good show. Acolyte, all things being equal, I agree with you. For the cost of it, it wasn't on screen. And in the end, it was just like, well, what did we gain from it? And I think the answer is very, very little. There's a lot of people who are really upset with the storyline, the characters, the plot lines, the idea that the Jedi were portrayed the way they were. And there's some valid arguments among that. So even though you got a lot of people petitioning saying save the Acolyte, there's a lot of people saying no, get rid of it, as we've seen in our show already.
Well, the thing I have to say about that, if you replace the word Acolyte with Doctor Who, pretty much the same. Like a lot of the people like it because of the flag waving. A lot of it wasn't good. A lot of it didn't like the way the Doctor was portrayed and things like that. And if it had been cancelled at the end of this recent series, I'd have been very disappointed. The other thing with the Acolyte, Dags and I get an instant feedback from working in the shop of what the general view is. And most people didn't like the Acolyte, but I was surprised some actual really big Star Wars fans did like it. I mean, Shane Cook, who comes in a bit, he thought it was a good show. So there were some people who really liked it, who were fans, and it wasn't just because it was representing something that they stood for. That said, I agree with you. It wasn't anything in the canon of Star Wars that added to it, or I took anything away from. I will never watch that show again.
I've got a message from our Twitch feed. Sci-Fi, are we Aussie? Yes, we are. So it's good to see that you've joined us, but we're actually due to finish in about 5 minutes' time. So, and Aaron's microphone is playing up. So if you're wondering why he's doing a bit of the starter rap, that's the reason why. But stick around to the end. You never know. And look, it's fine. There'll always be people who say, oh, I really liked it, I really enjoyed it, and whatever else. But I work on the view, if you've got a certain group of people who say, no, it's not working for them, and you go, you know what, I really respect your opinions. I mean, I really, really do. You seem to have very, very valid arguments. You're actually a good example of that. Then maybe there's something to say, yeah, give it the flick. Having said that, considering the fan reaction was so negative, which is not a good thing, you can argue, so, well, did it really deserve it? I mean, it's not exactly a book of Boba Fett, like train wreck, but whatever. If they tried an experiment with the show and it didn't work, and it looks like it hasn't worked, I don't know what Lucasfilm can do to try and recover from that. So,
well, the other thing was they set up a petition to try and get it going, and overnight it got like 600 or 700, and then within a couple of days it was 2,000. And Disney are going to look at that and go, 2,000 fans want it to continue. You're gone.
See, you do wonder if they hadn't have done the flag waving as much as they did, and said, okay, let's just make a bit of a balance, right? Let's put a couple of Caucasian blokes in there. Maybe the witches aren't necessarily doing the gay thing, whatever else. Maybe things would have been different. Maybe not change the law so much from the Jedi. It might have been okay. But I mean, sometimes when you try something new, and funnily enough, we saw this with Star Trek Discovery, it can backfire really badly if it's too different, because you're dealing with a fan base that already has a preset conception as to how the universe should be. So I don't know, but I agree with you. I would have been keen to see where they went with it. But yeah, sorry, dude, go for it.
I'm just saying, so Sci-Fi, you've got in late, but we're talking about, should the Acolyte have been cancelled?
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, I should have put that up, should I? I like this comment from Karan. The people have spoken. Yeah, I guess they have actually. So yes, it's a very interesting one. So I don't know what it means for the future of the franchise, whether they just, as you said here, it got slammed really, really fast. It did. And I think even when we were discussing it here a few weeks ago, it was like, well, it wasn't exactly something that was groundbreaking. Considering where it was set in the universe, it could have been something really different, really unique. But by the same token, it was, I don't know, I enjoyed it. It didn't irk me as much as it irked other people. Some people really went completely nuts going, oh, they hated it. And well, whatever, dude. So... yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how well received the Skeleton Crew is, because that really, I don't know if you've seen the trailer for that, really does have a cast of kids and a very diverse cast, and it might have the same problems that the Acolyte had.
So William said Firefly was cancelled and it was a great show. The fans loved it. That was the thing. It was the networks who cracked the shits with it, whereas in this case, it's the fans that revolted against it. So it's not exactly apples for apples. And yeah, once again, there's a reference here about Firefly. So yes, I think it's a lot of people are sort of saying, yes, bring Acolyte back, but I think the damage is done. Lucasfilm has done, as you said, looked at the numbers and said, nah, that's clearly not the way to go. Just shelve it and move on to the next item. So I don't know.
This isn't the way.
No, it doesn't seem that way. And there's no merchandise. I don't think they'll ever do merchandise for Acolyte. That would be an interesting one, wouldn't it? Because that's the kind of thing that could be worth something. Yeah. Did they?
They did. I haven't seen any locally, but some has turned up in the Black Series, and a couple of figures have turned up. So there was some merchandise, but I don't know if we'll get it locally.
Okay, so there you go. So for Sci-Fi who joined us, and I forgot to say, yes, it was the main topic that we were discussing. Guess what? It's the end of the show. That's the end of us. We're done for the week. How good is that? By the time we come back next week, Aaron's Collectibles would have had its massive sale. And for those who have got no idea what we're talking about, of course, we are talking about the store. We didn't give you the address earlier on, but now here's the address. Shop 3, number 1 Main Street, Blackburn. Big sale this weekend. Absolutely fantastic. Upstairs, downstairs, they're practically selling everything. Even the staff are going out for next to next. What do you reckon about that, Mr. Aaron?
My secret way to success is never telling anyone where the store is, so no one can find us. But it will be one of those days that'll be crazy and funny and a great evening. So if anyone wants to come down for the weekend and have a chat, it's going to probably be pretty hard because the last one was totally crazy.
Absolutely. And if you haven't done so already, be sure to check out the Sci-Fi Zone socials on YouTube and Instagram, blah, 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 blah. So there you go. That is done and dusted. What do you reckon about that, dude? Christy's coming in, joining you on Saturday. Absolutely fantastic. Apologies to Shy Fry. Yeah, you're only here for 5 minutes and we're about to bugger off. But if you want, go back and watch the replay. It's completely not at all worth it. I can assure you of that. So there you go. Anyway, Mr. Aaron, you have a good one. We'll probably see you on Saturday for the big sale. And we'll catch up with you then. But otherwise, for everybody else, we'll catch you next time. See you later.
Have a good night, guys.